What's a quote that permanently changed the way you look at things?
Asterisk, don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Asterisk. This helped a lot with my guilt and burgeoning martyr complex.
I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. Mark Twain. Founded on a workbook for anxiety disorders. You might be the sweetest peach on the tree, but some people just don't like peaches. This helped me get over my lifelong desire to be liked by everyone, and allowed me to focus on becoming someone I actually liked.
Anyone else read this in a southern accent? Lol.
Long time ago I was meeting two women on the sidewalk, and just as we passed each other I heard this one sentence from one of them. You don't notice your progress in life because you are always raising the bar.
And now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good. John Steinbeck, East of Eden.
Graveyards are full of irreplaceable people. That quote helped me stop going down the path of working myself to death because my job needs me.
That mountain you've been carrying, you were only supposed to climb. Really helped me overcome a lot of traumatic experiences and difficult chapters in my life. I hope it helps someone else out there.
It's easy to fool someone. It's hard to convince them that they've been fooled.
One of the saddest lessons of history is this: if we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. We're no longer interested in finding out the truth. The bamboozle has captured us. It's simply too painful to acknowledge, even to ourselves, that we've been taken. Once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never get it back. Carl Sagan.
Asterisk asterisk. Don't let a wishbone grow where a backbone should be. Asterisk asterisk. Asterisk asterisk. It's no use wasting time worrying what other people think about you. No one is thinking about you. Asterisk asterisk. And asterisk asterisk. Remember to take care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. Asterisk asterisk. Been living up to those ideals recently and I feel I have just started living.
Worrying is a waste of your imagination. Tilda, I saw it spray painted on a sidewalk somewhere. Asterisk, wow, my first awards. Hope it helped some people while also hoping it didn't offend others.
Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it is a quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. Marianne Radmacher. I came across this a long time ago, at a point in life that I really needed this lesson. It's okay if I feel sad and resigned, if my depression beat me for today and I wasn't able to function. I didn't fail, I'm not weak, I will try again tomorrow.
Courage is not the towering oak that sees storms come and go. It is the fragile flower that blossoms in the snow.
Dear Abby's response to a writer thinking of going back to school but worried that she will be 40 by the time she got her degree. How old will you be in 4 years if you don't get your degree? You are going to be 40 anyway with or without your degree. It reminded me that letting age stop me from my plans was just silly. Also, working at a community college and seeing so many people going back to school in their 30s, 40s, 50s and thriving, the quote really spoke to me.
I went back to school in my late 20s, gonna graduate after turning 33 this year, and I am super jazzed to have gained all these new skills. Edit. Thank you everyone for the support and well wishes. Always remember that it's never too late to pick up new skills.
When people show you who they are, believe them. Maya Angelou. Your kid isn't giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time. The only way out is through.
The axe forgets, the tree remembers. Zimbabwean proverb. People don't forget how they were treated. That's why it's so important to be kind. Edited to add. I honestly did not expect this to blow up. Thanks y'all. I saw this one time under a post about parenting and it stuck with me. As a mother of 2 stubborn toddlers, some days are rough and filled with thin patience and frustration. I use this quote to remind myself that how I am with them will be what helps to shape them. My husband and I set the example for them, and both of us had crappy childhoods. I don't want them traumatized like I was as a child. I want them to be molded with love, not negativity.
Never be so kind you forget to be clever, and never be so clever you forget to be kind.
Assume whoever you're listening to knows something you don't.
Worrying only means you suffer twice.
Just because you lost me as a friend doesn't mean you gained me as an enemy. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table.
I've been dealing with a few fizzled relationships lately, and this is so on point. The last thing I wish for is for them to be effed over. At the same time, I don't need to see your face. Woman shrugging.
Never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity. Hanlon's razor. Not everyone's out to get you. There are a lot of stupid people in the world.
Everyone is somebody else's weirdo.
Can I adopt a weirdo?
You can't blame a blind person for being blind. You just don't let them drive your car.
We have to realize a lot of stuff in life is beyond our control. We have to learn to live with it. The good and the bad.
You cannot convince people to love you. This is an absolute rule. No one will ever give you love because you want him or her to give it. Real love moves freely in both directions. Don't waste your time on anything else. Cheryl Strayed.
Fake love is mighty convincing in a world where real love is mighty rare.
I can do anything but I can't do everything.
I visited Pearl Harbor this week and the one that struck me was, there were many acts of heroism that day, not all of them recorded. It reminds me that even when nobody is watching, it's still important to put forward your best.
Character is what you do when no one is looking.
Honey, I hope it's the worst thing that ever happens to you. From my dad when I was complaining about something. He probably didn't intend for it to be deep or anything, but it puts things in perspective. I think of it all the time.
Sometimes I have to tell myself, if that's the worst thing that happens to me all day, it will be a pretty good day.
The first draft is just you telling yourself the story. Terry Pratchett. I'm not sure why this quote struck me so hard, but it completely changed the way I approach writing. Just get your ideas down in run-on sentences and asides to yourself and loads of, at parts you haven't figured out yet. It took me more than 30 years to realize that a first draft isn't just a rough version of the final draft. It's a map for yourself, and no one else.
Greater than we're all critics. We're all so good at recognizing what's putty about something, but then we're all so bad at making something. So just make something bad and then criticize it until it's good. Dan Harmon.
The pain I feel now is the happiness I had before. That's the deal. C.S. Lewis.
Oof. Gut punch. Grief is the loss of what we love.
Paraphrased, when people act crazy, they're either actually crazy, which is unlikely, or there's a good reason for their behavior that you just haven't figured out. Dr. David Burns in his book, Feeling Good Together. Excellent book about getting along with people and trying to understand them. Edit, wow, thanks for the awards and the discussions here. It's worth mentioning that, in my quote, crazy really refers to surprising or unreasonable behavior, not genuine mere illness, and good reason refers more to an explanation for the behavior. The point of the quote is to not write people off because you don't understand them.
That is a concept in teaching too. Every behavior meets a need. Basically, when kids are acting out, if we can figure out what need is being met by the behavior, we can figure out a better way to address that issue and resolve the behavior.
Be afraid, but do it anyway. Carrie Fisher.
Just because it's not your fault doesn't mean it's not your responsibility.
The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
Resentment is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die.
When seeking revenge, dig 2 graves. Confucius.
That's a good one too. Thanks.
There's a Buddhist quote, "Don't believe everything you think."
Very much related to mindfulness and the idea that you are not what you think. Sometimes we have bad thoughts that we only think because we physically feel bad. That doesn't make us bad. Just observe and let the thoughts pass.
We're all going to die, all of us. What a circus. That alone should make us love each other, but it doesn't. We are terrorized and flattened by trivialities. We are eaten up by nothing. Charles Bukowski.
Socializing is just like any skill. You need to practice before you're good at it. My mum, comforting me when I was struggling to make friends. Edit. Thanks for the awards. I assure you, next time I see my mum I'll tell her about your compliments.
My buddy Josh has autism and will occasionally ask me why anybody would even like him. I tell him asterisk, I don't know man, we just do asterisk. It's not the answer he's after, but it's the answer nonetheless.
When I became a man I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up. C.S. Lewis.
Since it is so likely that children will meet cruel enemies, let them at least have heard of brave knights and heroic courage. Otherwise you are making their destiny not brighter but darker. C.S. Lewis.
Not sure the exact quote but, greater than, don't play chess with a pigeon. It'll just knock over the pieces, poo all over the board and then strut around like it won the game. In reference to arguing with unreasonable people who refuse to and/or are incapable of considering viewpoints outside their own and employ logical fallacies to justify their position. Carrot edit, apparently it's carrot attributed, link.
It's a take on Mark Twain's, never argue with a fool, they'll bring you down to their level and beat you with experience. And, by Christ, was he correct? Edit. Apparently this wasn't actually a quote of his, link.
There's not a lot of things worth caring about. Told to me by a close friend, and it really helped me get over my insecurities and self-consciousness.
Think of thing this way. After you leave school, there will be two types of people in your life, your friends, family and strangers you will never see again. You don't need to worry about being insecure and self-conscious with the first group because they love, like you and so it really doesn't matter. You don't need to worry about being insecure and self-conscious with the second group because you're never going to see them again so it really doesn't matter.
I understand there's a guy inside me who wants to lay in bed, smoke WD all day, and watch cartoons and old movies. My whole life is a series of stratagems to avoid and outwit that guy. Anthony Bourdain.
End of BoJack Season 2. It gets easier. Every day it gets easier, but you gotta do it every day. That's the hard part.
I don't know the quote exactly, but I really liked. But hey, life sucks and then you die. Well, sometimes life sucks and you just keep living. If you are lonely when you're alone, you are in bad company. Jean-Paul Sartre.
I loved another one of his, We Are Our Choices. That one hit me.
A ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. John Shedd.
My best mate's favorite quote was, "Smooth seas never made a skilled sailor."
Use what talents you possess. The woods will be very silent if no birds sang there except those that sang best. Henry Van Dyke.
I like this a lot. It reminds me a lot of something my grandmother used to say, which is that all singing is good singing as long as you make a joyful noise. I miss her every day.
You train people how to treat you, unconsciously or not.
I sure hope I'm not unconscious when I train them.
I wish it need not have happened in my time, said Frodo. So do I, said Gandalf, and so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us.
Many that live deserve death, and some that die deserve life. Can you give it to them? Then do not be too eager to deal out death in judgment.
People don't think about you as much as you imagine they do.
Similarly, I've heard this as don't worry about what others think of you because in most cases they don't.
Don't put off the important in favor of the urgent.
It's not a quote. A distant friend once told me that you have to work at friendships. It completely changed my outlook. I just thought friendships came naturally to people, wanting to hang out, gifting, etc. But since then, I recognized I needed to do my part, and my friends were doing theirs.
Today is the oldest you've ever been in your life and the youngest you'll ever be again.
Honesty without kindness is brutality.
Draw a monster. Why is it a monster?
I used to have some pretty severe anxiety as a kid and would freak out if there was any hint of danger or risk of moderate failure. My parents started not just saying, "What's the worst that could happen?" but actually talking me through the actual worst-case scenario. And more often than not, things would still always be fine. I still run through a hypothetical worst-case scenario before making big decisions or intense situations and it still calms me down.
There's a lot of narcissism in self-hatred, David Foster Wallace.
Asterisk. Self-disgust is self-obsession, link.
I was the victim of a series of accidents. As we all are. Kurt Vonnegut, The Sirens of Titan.
Asterisk, it's possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not weakness. That is life. Asterisk. Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
The opposite is true as well. You can make all the mistakes and still win. 7 billion people, someone's rolling all nat 20s.
Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way, Viktor Frankl. The only thing we learn from history is that we learn nothing from history. Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel.
Finally, something intelligible from Hegel.
From my therapist. Don't know where she got it. When you're the ocean, you don't have to be afraid of the waves. I remember this when feeling overwhelmed. I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days, before you've actually left them. Andy from The Office.
I had this conversation with my dad a few years ago. He told me, these are the good old days. I haven't lived life quite the same since.
People often confuse stress with responsibility.
There are two paths you can go by, but in the long run there's still time to change the road you're on. Led Zeppelin. Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing. Ron Swanson.
You're going to make a lot of people mad doing what's right for you.
Don't die until you're done. Warren Zevon.
If everyone around you is an asshole, maybe you are the asshole.
The other version of this is, if everyone you meet smells of dog poo, check your own shoe.
No matter how many times I may stumble, I will rise each time a better man. The most important step a man can take is the next one. It's always the next one.
I say, beware of all enterprises that require new clothes, and not rather a new wearer of clothes. Henry David Thoreau.
There is no such thing as multitasking, only rapid switching.
We are just an advanced breed of monkeys on a minor planet of a very average star. But we can understand the universe. That makes us something very special. Stephen Hawking.
We accept the love we think we deserve. Perks of being a wallflower.
Hurt people hurt people.
Huo je ju shi wei la huo je bu shi wei la huo je ji yi de shen mi yuan yin. The point of living is to live. There is no other reason. Yu hua huo je. Yu hua, from the novel To Live.
Simple, better safe than sorry.
Measure twice, cut once. Also, everything takes longer than you think. Asterisk, when you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all. Asterisk. God on Futurama.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day. So be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.